excellent. Well, let's talk about our friends, let's talk about art. Let's talk about our friends at Art Books with Udon. Robotech, the Macross Saga Visual Archive art book is now available. As you can see, folks, it's a completely redesigned art book, including episode synopsises, mega designs, including size comparisons, character designs. Here's Lin Min Mei. Here's Rick Hunter. And it's now on its second printing. And everybody's wondering, will there be more books? The answer is yes. However, Harmony Gold and Udon are deep in production on the next book. And right now, all we can reveal to you is this. Oh, and speaking of artwork, let's talk about Titan Comics. Please welcome to the stage Tommy Yoon and Chris Thompson from Titan Comics and Harmony Gold. Come on up, guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
Hello, I am really amazed at the response we've gotten from the fans, and I want to really thank our wonderful partners for all the amazing licenses they've come out over this past year. But one of the things that fans ask us is, what about new Robotech stories? And Chris, can you tell us, how did Robotech launch in comics this last year?
Well, I mean, it's launched really well. It's really exciting, and I guess, you know, following the example of my friend at the end here when he came up and said, I've been a big fan all along, that was my story as well. You know, I grew up on this in the 80s, and actually I came to Titan a couple of years ago, and I don't even know if I've told Tommy this, but one of the big reasons I got the job was because I actually knew Robotech, and it was right around the time they were going to acquire it. They were like, well, okay, this is great, we want you involved, and essentially it was part of getting me the job, so thank you very much, guys. But yeah, we are really invested in this. I've explained this a couple of times, but without giving too much away, you know, if you read up in Carl Masek's original vision of Robotech, it was going to be that there was enough episodes that it could be syndicated, they could show all year long, and eventually when you got to the end, you could start the next year with episode 1 again, and it would work in this perfect cycle. And so we took that idea of, like, what if it was cyclical and something was going on, and we built the story from that. So it doesn't negate anything that's come before, but we are telling new Robotech stories. We're starting in the Macross era, and I think there's some interesting stuff. So if you haven't got in yet, we have volumes 1 and 2 downstairs, which are the first 2 arcs, issues 1 to 4 and then 5 to 8, and we have issues 9, 10 and 11 which just came out. You can pick them up in a catch-up pack, get them all together and be up to date. We are at booth 5537, which is actually on the front wall, so don't look in the 5500s. Comic-Con is very confusingly laid out. We're on the front wall at Hall C. We're actually really easy.
Well, awesome. What about classic comics?
Yeah, and so we have started reprinting the classic Miko comics in beautiful omnibus archives, and so we have the first volume of that out as well. And again, you know, I remember buying these back in the day, and they were great. You know, I loved them, but they were sort of on a basic newsprint, and it worked at the time. But the way we've reproduced them, they really do look gorgeous. I think seeing them in a nicer, glossy format on good paper, it actually brings them alive again, and it's kind of exciting. So the take that we've got in the new stuff is quite different, and then you've got the classic omnibus alongside it, so you can have those two approaches.
Now, it's not just reprinting some of the classic materials that's been reprinted before, such as the Kamiko issues. There is some work really being done now to bring back comics that have never been reprinted before.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're digging in. This is to create your proper Robotech library and your archive. So we are committed to getting it all out there. So I know in the office I've seen work on the Sentinels and finally bringing that stuff back into print and getting to the end of it. You know, there's stuff that just hasn't been seen in the longest time. Things that I never saw and certainly never got original copies of, and we're wanting to get through all of it. So it's not just a repetition of what you've seen before. I mean, the stuff that we are reprinting is quite honestly a higher standard than it's ever been reprinted in the past, but we're bringing stuff into print that just never got there, and things that have been out of print for so long that they either go for stupid money online or you just don't see them. So you know, we don't want stupid money, we just want kind of regular money. That'd be fine.
You know, this is one of the things that really makes us appreciate how much energy Titan puts into these books, is that they're not just knowledgeable about it, they really love Robotech. And speaking of the fans, we had spoken about how fans get involved. Actually, this cover here, this amazing cover, blew our socks off, was by one of our fans, Jay DeBlante. Jay, can you stand up here? Woo! He actually did this as part of his fan work, working with cosplay, and he actually does a lot of his work for charity, and so we love his work so much, we look forward to seeing more of your work in future Robotech books. And also, our new writer that we're working with, we've got a message from Simon Furman himself, who is writing the newest Robotech comics.
Greetings, Robotech fans. Simon Furman here, writer of Titan's revisionary Robotech comic. Hope you're enjoying the changes. Some major, some minor, we're making to the story as we go along. Gloval's death, Rick's blindness, the Invid, and we're just getting started. Big developments around the corner for Roy, and the secrets of the SDF-1 are laid bare like never before. Oh, and the Zentradi spies go on a date. The best, as they say, is yet to come. Enjoy.
I like how that's out of sync, just that little bit, you know, it's like he was Skyping in live from London.
Yeah, and those are the issues that are collecting the Robotech story so far, if you missed any of the singles. And Simon touches on a little bit of what Chris was talking to us earlier about, which is that these are your familiar characters, but thrown into unfamiliar situations that you don't remember seeing them in before. And this is very, very deliberate. There's a path that Simon is taking them on, and it is really exciting. And we also want to introduce a new artist who's working with us. He's amazing, Henry Prasetkia. How many of you guys want to see his artwork? Well, what you see here, and we're going to walk you through this process, it's really interesting, is that Henry is very collaborative in his work, and what he'll do is, there's so much detail in Robotech, and there's often cases where artists don't get it right, you know, and one of the things he does is he gives us his rough based on the story direction, and then we work back and forth with him, giving him reference materials of the original model sheets, the characters, so that he interprets it right, and at the same time he also gives a fresh style to it. And then we'll show his final page, and this is taking a look at what just came out in issue 10, and issue 11 is now coming out. And issue 12 is going to be his solo work, so it's going to be all on display. It's going to be awesome. But take a look here. This is the very end of the 10th issue, and already what you're seeing is a mixing of the saga stories. So you have the Regis from the new generation getting involved in the story from the Macross saga already. And this is what Carl had envisioned. In a perfect world, these three original series affect one another. And also, speaking of new stories, Kevin?
Want to talk about the live action film? I thought so, that's why you're here, aren't you? All right. Sony Pictures has acquired the rights the Robotech live-action movie. We have two producers, Johnny Newnery and Mark Canton, who have a proven, successful track record in Hollywood. And we're pleased to announce a new producer has joined the team. Her name is Barbara Machete. But you're asking yourself, who is going to direct the live-action Robotech movie? We have a director, and his name is Andy Machete. And he directed this movie.
When you're a kid, you think that you'll always be protected and cared for. Then, one day, you realize that's not true. If you opened your eyes, you would see what we're going through. Because when you're alone as a kid, the monsters see you as weaker. You don't even know they're getting closer. Until it's too late.
He directed Stephen King's It, which grossed over $700 million worldwide, the best opening for a September movie. But who's going to write the live-action Robotech movie? We have a new writer, and his name is Jason Fuchs, who co-wrote Wonder Woman and Ice Age: Continental Drift. These two films grossed $1.6 billion worldwide total. And they all came over. Jason, Andy, came over to the Harmony Gold offices to visit us. This is Jason on the left, Andy Machete's in the center, and Frank Agrama, our chairman, is on the right. And folks, they were like kids in a candy store. This is them in the Robotech den. And they're huge Robotech fans. Folks, the franchise is in very good hands. But you're all asking yourselves, what's the next steps? Well, we're going to walk you through what the process is going to be moving forward. First, Andy Machete is directing the sequel to Stephen King's It, shooting currently in Toronto. While that is going on, Jason Fuchs will be writing the screenplay for the Robotech live-action film. And Sony and Harmony Gold will be working together with the production team to develop the live-action Robotech movie while the It sequel is in production. So as you can see, we have an outstanding production team for the live-action Robotech movie. Wonderful partners, and the Robotech franchise is building towards a very bright future. I want to open it up to questions, bring up the lights. We got prizes to give away, so please come on up here, and we're here.
Oh, also, while the folks are standing in line for questions, Fuzzy, could you give away, Titan has generously provided the new Robotech comics that are being written by Simon Furman for everyone in this room, so.
Dan, go ahead, please.
You sound a lot better than yesterday.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, what's your question?
What is the possibility of a Netflix series? Has that ever been considered?
Yeah.
There's many different folks who are interested in a new Robotech animated series. We've talked to really experienced people in Hollywood. When we're ready to cross that bridge, we'll have great announcements for you.
Dan, come on and get your prize. Yes, sir.
On the game platform for the Master Saga, did you test some of that with Warhammer 40K format?
So the Crisis Point one is still a card-based game, and it's a 1v1. It's a really sophisticated area control combined with bluffing and a couple other core mechanics. So the Infinite Invasion will feel a little more like a miniatures game just because it has a lot of standees in it, but my specialty with my company is card games and dice games. So trying to keep it, we started the company for families, getting families back together, sitting at the table with their cell phones down, and so we try to keep it at a level where everybody in the house can come and have a good time.
Give you a Robotech Ace Pilot game and a free action movie. Yeah, sir.
Hi, in the comics, just wondering if you guys would ever do a background story on Rick and Roy, how they kind of developed that relationship between those two.
We have covered that before in different angles, but I think that's really fertile ground. One of the things you're going to start seeing as the Robotech comics go along is more flashbacks into the past, some of the early interactions that you haven't seen before. Maybe not as specific as what you're looking for, but definitely that's something we'll look into and we'll suggest to Simon.
Why not?
I want to see that too, though, so I'm on your side.
Which questions?
Oh, okay. So I was wondering, since you did put up the arcade game, I was wondering if you guys would also put in maybe some modernized version of the games to maybe add in like a whole new storyline or just a part of the storyline, and maybe like do a VR simulation of like being in the cockpit.
That is something Sony is really interested in. In fact, I, just by happenstance, ran into some folks from Sony because it's something they very much want to do. You know that Sony is one of the few film studios that also has its own, very own game platform. And they very much want to launch more Robotech games. This is like a baby step getting back into the arena, getting the classic games back out. But yeah, that's definitely something we're working on.
All right.
Come on up and tries. Sir, next question.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's any of the any more like Zentradi toys like in the future.
You mean like you want Zentradi toys? Well, we can make more in the future. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a Robotech reaction figure. How's that sound?
Actually, everyone here, you have a wonderful opportunity. Many of our partners are here in the exhibit hall show floor. Go to them and say how much you love the Robotech toys, but I also want to see this. And if they hear that enough times, they're going to go, that might be a good idea. So you have a chance to be influencers. Take advantage of that opportunity.
Sir.
I was actually going to ask the same thing, but you know, also like the Invent figures, that'd be cool. Maybe like a Destroyed Monster. I think that'd be a really cool toy also. So.
Okay, we'll let our licenses know. Please come up with your price, sir. Next question.
Somewhat on the same lines, I was going to say, how come we've never seen any Southern Cross figures, collectibles? I mean, we've only seen Macross and in some aspects, some of the
As we talked As we talked about before, Gabe's going to be releasing the Southern Cross game, Robotech Crisis Point. Our licenses are working on hopefully getting more Southern Cross and new generation merchandise out there for you.
All right, so how many of you all think Southern Cross needs more love? Woo! All right, that's good support.
Run up, your prize.
Kind of following along with one of the other questions, I'm a 40K player myself. Are there any talks on us getting more minis games, like actual full-blown minis for us to name, for us to custom build, things like that? Or is it just sticking to the card games and the cardboard games?
So for me, my company we don't do miniatures right now. It's something we've looked into at some point or another, but we wanted to finish the first 3 games we designed because we want you to be able to sit down in one night and play the TV shows, you know, play the series 2-3 games. But yeah, we've looked into potentially kind of taking the Warhammer concept in a way and seeing if we can come up with something as we move down the road with the partnership with Harmony. We're also working on a deck builder as well.
Cool. So it's a little bit early, but we are working on your concerns because we know that there's a gap in the gameplay marketplace for miniatures. So that's something we're definitely working on.
And if you like 40K, Titan Comics actually does Warhammer comics as well.
Hi, speaking of comics, I remember you guys one time did a Voltron Robotech crossover series. It's pretty good. Are you ever going to think about doing something like that again? Another crossover series with Robotech?
What do you think? More crossover with Robotech?
That could be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really, really fun series, and I think it was an honor to work with Elmer Damaso on that. He did a bang-up job, so yeah, what kind of crossovers would you like to see?
it like has to be kind of matching with it, like another space series, or maybe like a giant robot fighting series, like maybe Power Rangers?
James likes that.
You know, an interesting fact I didn't get to point out, I don't like to give big bucks to other companies, but Hendry, who's coming on to, do some of the art for the next couple of arcs of Robotech, which I just sort of casually dropped there, actually was the artist who helped launch Power Rangers with Boom, with the new comic. So if you've seen that, I mean, his stuff is phenomenal. So, I don't know, that'd be an interesting conversation.
That's a good idea.
Why not put your prize? You're going to be the Angel Bird VF1A at a soundtrack. Yes, sir.
Good evening. So my question is for the role-playing game. Is it going to be based off the original Palladium rules or the D20 system, or is it going to be a brand new mechanic entirely?
It's a brand new mechanic, and I got to tell you, it feels very, very cinematic the way it works. We're still playtesting it, so it's still going to morph a little bit, but the idea is to make you feel like you're playing the show. And in the playtest sessions I've been in, it really nails that. It's really fun, it's really fast-paced, and it really gives you the flexibility to do all the cool stuff that you can see all the characters doing on the shows without getting bogged down in rules and spacing and all that sort of thing. So that's really the goal, is to make you feel like you're in Robotech rather than rolling dice constantly.
Folks, we're in a lightning round, so we have 5 minutes left, so make your questions pretty brief.
Here, real quick. Are you going to be adding Ben Dixon to the new lineup also?
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah.
Are you going to be adding Ben Dixon? All the new merchandise didn't actually touch on his either your Veritech or like even action figure.
Yeah. We did have Ben Dixon variants of the toys before. Like, he looks like the tan VF1A, but for you discerning fans, you notice that his version is slightly different. But yeah, we do want to see Ben in more action figures, and we'll suggest that to our licensees.
I'll give you a VF1J action figure. How's that sound? All right. Sir.
Some of the songs by Lyndon May and Yellow Dancer were such an essential part of the original animated series. Is there a chance some of these classic songs could be incorporated into the new live-action film?
It is too early to talk about music regarding the live-action film. Right now, Jason is writing the screenplay for the live-action Robotech movie. That's all we're able to reveal. But once Sony gives us clearance, we will let you all know. We can give you a Robotech soundtrack.
There's one little bit of reality check to give everyone, is now that Andy is working in production on It 2 and shooting that, now the casting for that is starting to leak out to the public. So as soon as he crosses that bridge into Robotech, you'll hear more news about that.
Okay, so that actually relates to my question. I was wondering if you have an ideal record for the live action film, like an ideal actor.
We cannot speculate on casting. Here's why. Because if we were to say, I would like to see blank actor play blank role in the live action Robotech movie, and we tweeted out today at San Diego Comic-Con, Kevin McKeever announced that blank actor will be playing blank role in the live action Robotech movie, and then Sony will be really, really angry with us, so we can't speculate. But to make it up to you, I'm going to give you the VF1D F14 die-cast model.
Can you talk about the status of the license? Is Harmony Gold losing the license in 2021?
Harmony Gold loses. All we can say is we can't talk about anything at this time. Legal has said we can't talk about it. The only thing we can say is read the full arbitration ruling. Read the entire arbitration ruling. That's all we can say at this time. Okay, I know, believe me, I understand the question, I understand your concern, but right now legal's asked us, don't say anything. All we can say is just read the arbitration ruling. So, thank you, my friend. So come on up here and get your prize.
Yes, thank you for the production update on the live action movie. I have 2 quick questions. One, is Tobey Maguire still attached to the project?
He's no longer attached. That deal has moved from Warner Brothers to Sony.
Okay. And my other question is, speaking of crossovers, as previous person mentioned, is there any chance we'll ever see Robotech and Exo Squad crossover again?
Could you repeat that?
Is there any chance we'll see Robotech and Exo Squad crossover again as they did with the Playmate toys?
Who has the rights to Exo Squad in comics?
Playmate. One Playmate had the license.
Yeah, just the toys are Playmates. Huh. All right, that's. Thank you for bringing that up. We'll look at it. We'll look into it.
Come on, choice.
Hi, I have two teenage sons, and we have enjoyed playing the Robotech Battle Cry on the old PlayStation 2. So since you already answered the question, my question is, can we get an estimate of when we might be seeing the new game coming to the platform?
Oh,
the new game, video game?
Sony right now they want us to do video games, but they want to make sure they get a good publisher. So they have to approve all the video games for the PlayStation platform. So as you can imagine, Sony will probably have a thing or two to say about that. So they're just working on trying to find a good publisher. That's what they're doing right now. So come on up and get your prize. I'm going to give you a Robotech hockey jersey.
For the live action, is it the fabric in the old style or is it the futuristic, like the Macross Frontier?
You want spoilers already?
Yeah.
Now, we haven't crossed that bridge yet, so when the time is right to release more information about the live action film beyond what we've just announced here, we'll get to that.
Sir?
Two real quick questions. Either source book wise or comic book wise, I think Sentinels doesn't get a lot of attention. Will the Sentinels be at all attached to any of this?
Well, there's the reprints of the Sentinels books that Titan is currently working on, and also the Sentinels artwork is part of the license that Udon has, and I think when we work on the Southern Cross book, which is the next book after Macross, one of the internal discussions we're having right now is whether that is a separate book or part of the Southern Cross, because a lot of the Sentinels grew out of unused pre-production from the Southern Cross. So we are deep in that whole discussion concerning art books right now.
There's also definitely an Easter egg to Sentinels in the Titan comic. It's there, I saw it.
This is true. Okay, this would be a question for Titan. I'll have two questions. Titan, besides the books that are coming out now, the Robotech books, are you going to do any, like Kamiko did 3 stories at one time, okay? Are you guys going to be doing that? Are you just continually doing one story? Even though they're going to tie in, is there any chance of doing more than just the one story?
There's always a chance, but I think the thing is that we don't want to put too much of a strain on your wallets, and we want to just leave it so you can actually buy in and follow this stuff. You know, the temptation would be to oversaturate or get too much of this out there, but I think, you know, and as you sort of said, if you follow what we're doing with the series, you'll start to see more of these elements brought in. Like even there's our friend Seamus over there hinted to Sentinels. You know, there's going to be a lot more of that come in, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility of, you know, more cropping up later on. But I think we really want to establish this title as it is and then go from there.
And the second one's for the toy makers. If you guys can make the UN Spacey pot gun alone, because there's younger kids now, if you notice, most of us are a little up in age. We remember Robotech when it came out, okay? But the new young kids, they like to hold not only the Valkyries, but they want to hold something else. So if you can get this pot gun made, it doesn't have to shoot projectiles, but it can shoot a laser, that would be a great toy for Christmas.
So when you say pod gun, you mean as like a self-contained toy weapon, or are you talking about the whole battle pod?
Okay, the Valkyrie has a gun.
Yeah.
We used to call it
the gun? Okay.
Yeah, we used to call it pod gun back in the 80s.
The gun pod.
Yes.
So, all right.
Okay, so that toy, because I have, back in the 80s, they only had a laser toy. Okay, we bought that from Japan, but they got expensive. So there's a model, Imai I think came out with a model of the pot gun. It's about this large. Most of you guys probably have it by now. But guys were making it and giving it to their kids to play with, okay? So if you guys made that toy, and I know there are a lot of things about guns right now, but if you made that toy, that would be very, it should go.
Right. Just for clarification, the term is gun pod. It's just so that because there's so many Zentradi pods, just to avoid confusion with those. So yeah, gun pod.
Yeah, the model called it.
Right.
One up, surprise. Yes.
All right, so it's really encouraging to know that you guys are going into different stories. Well, one of the part of the story that I was always interested when I was watching way back when, in the Macross series, Rick at one point he plays sort of like the Earth ground patrol defender. I forgot the episode, but there's never really been any explanation of the ground patrol guys. I mean, these are the defenders, the phalanx, and all those guys that, if you ever watch, I mean, obviously everyone's watched it, but they just get blown up, but there's no backstory that anyone's actually piloting those mechas. Any thoughts on that?
It just comes down to the focus of the story. Even though the Star Wars universe is vast, do you want to hear about, Stormtrooper number 1's life, So it's just a judgment call over story direction. Like one of the things you touch on to is, if you look at some of the production designs or some of the detail cells of the Destroids, you'll notice some of them are marked Army rather than Spacey. So there are different armed forces even within the United Earth Forces. So, good observation there.
The RPG will give you the flexibility to play some of those characters too, so you can flesh out the stories on your own with that.
Robotech and Transformers have kind of interesting history with the whole Jetfire toy. So I was wondering, would you guys ever work with Hasbro or IDW to do some type of collaboration, mashup?
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah.
I don't know how possible that is, you never know, but certainly if you've got any familiarity with Simon Furman, he is known for writing other big robots basically, so yeah, there's always ripe room for that or little Easter eggs, I think.
Big question mark always, before we can run with a good idea, can we make the deal work with the other publisher? Right.
Sir.
Hello, hi. This is in regards to the live action. I know I can't divulge the details, but I've been following the news articles online, and there's been online concern about the casting of ethnic similar characters. So I was wondering if you were taking that into consideration with regards to the casting.
That's just a bridge we haven't crossed yet. That's at the director and studio's discretion. But like you're talking like in reference to like casting, for example, like the Ghost in the Shell live action film?
Right, exactly.
Okay, all right. Good question. Just don't have any casting information for you at this time.
Why don't you try something?
So, super excited, love the live action movie idea. Sony's gonna have a whole new Transformers franchise basically when this boots up, I think. So, but bringing it back to the tabletop games, I feel like we're developing a little bit of a tabletop fatigue. You see a lot of games that are kind of running somewhat similar mechanics. You have like Zombicide, or even Castle Panic, or even Warhammer. There's a certain pandemic, there's kind of, we've gotten into this thing where there's this excellent mechanism that, and then people try to twist it a little bit, but it almost feels like you're just playing every iteration, different risk type games. And I was wondering, what will you guys be bringing to the mechanism for these tabletop games to make it a little more refreshing and interesting?
So, Force of Arms has the mechanic, the engine that's in it, I invented. So it never existed until I created it for a different game that I had made in the past. Solar Flares, Robotech's our 9th game. We're small, we're a small self-publisher, but the mechanic that's there has been put into 2 other games, but there are games. And when we finally got it to Force of Arms, it really evolved from more of a hidden mechanic to a revealed information mechanic. And what we did when we went to Crisis Point is we took it to the final evolution, because going ground-based combat, true area control, strategic locations, secret objectives. It's all built in there under a mechanic that it doesn't exist in any other game that I'm aware of. And I've got my best friend's got 2,000 games in his house, and we haven't been able to find something that matches it. And I can tell you that for Invasion, the co-op mechanic there does exist in another game, one of my games. So we've really gone out of our way to give it. I'm a big fan of. I like to find things that I like, but I like to make them mine and unique because, yeah, I don't want to make Robotech a Zombicide game at all. But I want to make something that you can play, your kids can play, and then if you and your adult friends are playing it, it's harder because you're adults, but you can't play without kids without wanting to basically stab yourself.
Excellent. Sounds great.
Okay.
All right.
I'll see on the way up.
Go ahead, sir.
I remember back when I was like in middle school, I had like a whole series of novels. I think it was by Del Rey. Will those ever be republished by anyone, or the stories that went beyond the show that they covered be coming up in comic book form?
That's actually something we worked with on with Random House, the parent company of Del Rey. We work with them to get all the books from their back library, even the ones that hadn't been digitized before, into ebook form. So even the Lost Generation novels, which were really hard to find, you can find them on Amazon now.
Okay, awesome.
Folks,
there are elements from them that we've sort of touched on in the comics, right?
Yes, yes. That's something that Simon is wonderful in this way, in that he can keep just continuity details like no one's business in his head, and he's juggling all that with the new books right now.
Folks, we've gone 15 minutes over. They're shutting us down. I'm so sorry. Thank you all for coming.
Just one more, please. Just one more.
For anyone, since we're out of time, tomorrow at 11 o'clock we'll have an autograph signing at the Titan booth, so bring your questions.